course, it's Angela Hill back in the program again. I'm so happy to have her back in here. It's been a minute. Big fight coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big fight, big fight. I got a ranked opponent this time. That's not like in the top three, so
Yeah.
that's exciting. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for this. It was kind of last minute. I think I had about like a little less than 5 weeks to
Okay.
prepare, but it's kind of how I prefer it. It's not like super last minute to where I have to like only focus on getting in shape, but it's like just enough time that I'm not like freaking out and
Yeah.
like thinking about the girl like for like a good 2 months before I actually get to like fight. Yeah.
What was the phone call like when they called you and said, "Hey, no, no, forgive me. Did they call you directly, or did they get a hold of your manager first, or how did that work out?"
Usually I'll get like a message from there, and it's usually after I bug them. So in my last fight, or before my last fight, I hurt my toe, so
Hmm.
I was kind of out for a little bit. And when I was finally cleared by the doctor to like start training again, I was like, "Hey, Brian," my manager, like, "Hey, guess what? Guess what? I can fight right now." And like as soon as I started telling him, that was about the same time that her opponent pulled out of her last fight. So we tried to get the last minute one, but I was a little heavy at the time, and I think she didn't want it anyway. So it actually worked out better that I got a few weeks to get in shape and get back into it.
What's your weight like walking around when you're not in a full training camp?
Well, that's the funny thing. Because I was injured, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take the time and I'm gonna put on some mass.
Oh,
Usually I'm walking around at like 125.
okay.
During camp and even outside of camp, I don't really like gain that much weight. So when I would rehydrate the next day, I'd be around like 121 after weigh-ins. And everyone I'm fighting, you can see it in the photos. You can like I just know offhand like they're definitely rehydrating to at least 130. So my goal this camp was to walk at like 135, something like that, and then like take the mass off slowly so I have like an actual, I call it big girl weight cut,
Yes.
where I'm like actually like getting in the tub and being a little miserable, and actually cutting like a few more pounds than I usually do. Usually I just like I'll do one bath and I just won't drink water that night, and I'll wake up at 1:15.
Oh
So
wow.
this time I'm gonna gut it out.
So were you 135 you got the phone call?
Yeah, I was like
Okay.
almost, I was like around 138 ish. I was
Oh
pretty
wow.
proud of it. That was
Okay.
like definitely the heaviest I've ever been. So yeah, when I got the phone call, I was willing to just do it. Like, fuck it, I'll cut the weight. But she didn't accept the fight.
Yeah.
So it was better, it was a healthier outcome for me. So yeah.
So how is training camp different for this one then? Because you actually have more mass on you, so you do have to worry a little bit about calorie intake, amount of output, trying to get those calories down and that whole game. So how did training camp change?
Not too bad. Like my calorie deficit isn't too bad. Like usually I'll eat pasta at night.
Oh wow. Okay.
And that's been the big difference. Like now I'm just like not doing carbs at night. I'll still wake up, have a full breakfast, have a full lunch. I usually have like two protein shakes in between like breakfast and dinner, and in between like lunch and, or yeah, in between
Okay.
breakfast and dinner.
Okay.
So yeah, the only difference is I'm just taking out carbs for dinner, and so far so good. Like the weight's been coming off slowly but surely, and like with the added training that I do too, like the sprints and pad work and all that stuff on top of regular training, the weight's coming off fine.
Now
So,
you haven't cut weight really before, from what you're telling me. This time now you actually have to cut weight. Do you have a plan in place to actually get yourself down to this, or is it going to be kind of trial by fire?
no, I've cut weight before. I used to fight at 105.
That's right.
So yeah, I know the deal, and my husband also, he used to fight at 127. So yeah, like we have our own system, but I'm gonna have my teammates there too. Like Jess, she did a big girl weight cut her last fight too, so she's also coming up from atom weight. So like we're gonna like compare our notes and work on all that. But right now the main goal is to get my weight down to no more than like 10 pounds over by
Okay.
fight week, and then like drink a lot of water, drink a ton of water load, and then yeah, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. There's a whole system to
Yeah.
it.
Now, is your system the same as your husband's system, or do you guys have two different systems?
Nah, his system was horrible, man. Like his was a little more archaic than what I'm doing. Yeah, I mean, he was tall for his weight class. So like he would be in the trash bag, like cutting weight, jumping rope, get in the tub, get out, put the sauna suit back on, like lay there, feeling his heartbeat. Like his system was really rough. But it's kind of it's a little different, just the fact that I don't have to cut as much weight.
Mhm.
Um, and 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 yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just like the whole bath system, like hop in the tub,
Yeah.
sweat out a bunch, get back out, hop back in. And the week of, I'll be dieting too, so I'm not gonna try to cut 10 pounds of water in a day. Like
Right.
that
Yeah.
would suck.
Yeah. That's bad, especially at your size. I mean, when you finally
Yeah,
get down to 115, that's a lot. That's a big piece of your body weight trying to come off at one time. So.
yeah, no, that's not what the plan is.
Well, tell us about Moroz. Like, how do you see her as an opponent? I know you've seen tape on her, and you've watched a couple of her fights. Like, what do you think she's bringing to the table? Like, what's her best thing she has right now that you can see?
Her best thing is her volume, I think.
Okay.
Her volume, and she seems pretty determined once she grabs a hold of something. So like I think that's like her best thing that she's bringing. She's tall. So she's kind of like when I see her striking, it's kind of like when you turn on like a wood chipper,
Yeah.
like but without putting the wood in, it's just going,
Yeah.
I'm like. As soon as like you get into her range, she just goes da 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 da, and she doesn't necessarily hit anything, but it looks good. So
Okay.
like if I do go into her range and get hit by the da 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 da, that's a point, 1, 2, 3, 4 points, or however
Right.
the judges handle that sort of thing. So I think that's the main thing I'm gonna be conscious of, is just staying above her punch count and not letting her outpoint me, I guess.
And forgive me, I should know this already, but I didn't have a chance to write down my notes. Who's got the longer reach between you two?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I have pretty long reach for my
Yeah.
height, so I'm not sure. I think she might have me by an inch or two, though.
Okay. Okay. But it comes into play of like what I'm trying to figure out your game plan without you telling me your game plan. And so it's like, okay, is she gonna be the longer fighter and try to keep her on the outside and make her punch and throw and miss and hit air as you're smashing her every time you hit her, and that whole game. Which brings in the next question. You can hit pretty hard when you can get inside and get to the space. I don't, and you might see something different, but what I'm seeing is I don't see that she hits very hard. She hits a lot. She has a high volume, but she doesn't hit you very hard. At any one time, there's not that tempo punching where she's like rabbit, 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 and then throws like two really hard punches, and then comes back
Yeah.
into that rabbit punching. She just kind of keeps. I'm gonna throw 100 punches, and I'm gonna hope 85 hit. Kind of
Mhm.
situation. Are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, and that's
Okay.
what I think about the whole punch count thing.
Okay.
You never know what the judges are looking for,
Yeah.
and it sucks because like I really felt like in my last fight, it was one of the first fights that I lost that I actually thought that I won.
Yeah.
So that was a really tough one for me, but it just showed me, like even if I feel like I'm doing more damage or landing the harder shots, I still have to kind of act out the fact that I'm winning as well. So like throwing those extra punches and you know I don't know, just winning every exchange. And that was a big thing when I was doing Muay Thai, like every time there was an exchange, you throw the last punch or you
Right.
land the last kick or something like that. And I don't know, I guess like there were a few exchanges where I didn't, even though I felt like I landed the harder shot, I didn't land the last shot, and maybe that exchange went to her scorecard as
Okay.
opposed to mine. So I'm thinking that that's gonna be one of the things that I have to look out for, is making sure I don't go back to like one punch at a time, or one, load up on that one cross, or load up on that hook cross. Like I have to throw like three, four, or five punches just to show that I'm still in it. And like it's a good strategy, like you said, to like hide those hard punches within your
Right.
combo. Hopefully the hard one lands, she
Yeah.
gets knocked out, and we don't even have to worry about score. So
Right.
so yeah, I definitely see the same thing. Like she throws a lot. I think just because I haven't been doing martial arts as long as someone like the girl she fought, like Latorno, um my chin can take a little more
Okay.
than a girl like that. So yeah, I think she's a little bit chinny too. I've seen her get dropped by a few girls in the tape that I watched. So yeah, I think just working in and outscoring her is going to be the main goal. I never go in like thinking, okay, game plan is to knock them out, but I think this is a person that might be able to happen with.
Now, do you see a knockout on the feet, or are you talking about a knockout? Somebody slips and falls, and you end up on top beating her up.
I mean, that'd be cool, but I think it's really hard for someone our size to get a knockout on the ground.
Yeah.
I think you can overwhelm them, TKO them, just like lay on top of them. They can't move. But when I say knockout, I just mean
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
punch her and she goes down. Like that's what I feel like might happen. As long as I keep that punch count up.
And this is the first time with me for sure. But in any interview I've ever heard you say like, "Yeah, I think this one I can knock out." Like you usually don't say that. You're like, "Well, I'm gonna give good punch volume. I'm gonna be the last one kicking or punching on the way out." But that's the fight's gonna go the way the fight's gonna go, and I'm gonna try and win. But you anticipate it being a long drawn out fight. It's the first time I've heard you actually say, "Yeah, no, this is somebody I could potentially." Not saying it's gonna happen. You're not saying that, but you're saying like, "No, this is one of those fighters that." The way we fight, the way this fight's going to go, that for sure I can knock her out. Like this is a
For
big
sure.
potential for this one.
For
So,
sure, especially if it stays standing.
mm,
I think eventually she might try to start shooting on me, or pulling guard or what have you, just because like once you get hit a little bit, then yeah, you're gonna
yeah,
try to find other ways to win. But if not, if we both stand and bang, like I've seen her do that in a few of her fights. She just like tries to take the center and stand with whoever she's fighting. Then yeah, I think it's definitely someone I could drop.
did you besides not eating the pasta for dinner, did you have anything else in your diet you had to change? I know you said you do a bunch of protein shakes or whatever, but a lot now, and this is because USADA's come in and doing a lot of the testing. You have to be real cautious even about what supplements you're taking now, because they're people are failing all the time for this kind of stupid different stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I just stuck to like known brands,
Mm,
like Muscle Milk and stuff like that, because I don't really believe in too much when it comes to supplements.
right.
I just know that I have to take in more calories than I was before, when I was walking around at like 125,
Yeah.
sometimes dipping under 120. Like it was just my metabolism so fast, and I kind of have a smaller frame than it seems like I do. So it's really easy for me to get close to fight weight on accident. So
Okay. Yeah.
so I would keep telling my coaches like, what am I doing wrong? Like I try to eat more, blah blah blah, but I'm just like, I'll get full before I get to that number of calories that I'm supposed to hit that day. So protein shakes have been one thing that like just helps me get up there. That,
Yeah.
lots of nuts, lots of avocado,
Yeah.
you know, high calorie stuff. But the protein shake was like the big difference. Like as soon as I was done with my fight, like every day, like my husband's just like shoving me, shoving food in my face. Like it was
Oh,
so
oh,
wholesome.
oh. I mean, it's
I just,
like that. That's a really weird kind of relationship where your husband's like, sit down, you got to eat some more. Most husbands are
yeah,
like, can you please go to the gym? Can you please go get
yeah,
a? But your husband's like, nah, babe, you got to, here's some more. Just shovel it in. I got to get this in you.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I was saying he was feeding my ass because like literally the only thing that got bigger was my ass. Like that was it.
Good for him.
like you're having too much fun with this.
He's like, well, let's see. When I give you this, it only goes this much. I'm gonna give you some more of this. Make it a little bumpy. Yeah, I get that.
We're rolling up a pizza into a down my throat. Like,
yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Now, does he help cook and help prepare all the food and all that stuff too? So
yeah.
Because training camps suck. The last thing you want to worry about is like, man, I got to get whatever, I count 3,000 calories in today, and I got to go home and cook it. I just got done with working out. I'm just gonna go to bed. I'll eat later. And you just don't eat. It's just it happens.
Exactly. And that was my main problem. So he's like taking that as like one of his responsibilities. He's basically my caretaker. Like
that's awesome.
He's my like he's my chef, my like chauffeur, my like everything, my coach. He holds pads for me too. Like he but like with the nutrition stuff, like he gets obsessive with things. So it was good for him because he could just like go and do all the research and figure out, okay, she needs to eat this, and this, and then he'll go and buy it, and then he'll cook it for me, shove it down my throat, and that was like the biggest difference, I guess, is I was able to actually get up there. Like I basically gained like 10 pounds of extra mass.
Good weight though, not good weight, not sitting around drinking a bunch of beer and eating a bunch of pizza and just putting on fat weight.
Well, that helped too.
But... yeah, it's not lying. I mean, it's a food. Let's be honest, it's a food group. So
yeah, get the calorie count up. But yeah, there was more good than bad in what he would make for me. So yeah, it definitely got my weight up there. So that now while I'm in shape and like my cardio is good and I've been like doing 2 sessions a day, I'm still above 130, which is good. I don't slip down there until like fight week.
Oh, good for you. So. Couple more questions before we get out of here. Did you take much from the Carla Esparza fight when she fought Esparza? Was there much that you learned from that fight? Or because Carla's style is so much different than your style, it wasn't even really worth watching that much?
It's so much different. But one thing I thought was funny is that like Carla, and she does this with everyone, so it's never surprising, but like it's still funny to watch when she shoots on Moroz in this fight, and she's just like taking the punches, and gets the takedown, and it made me question Moroz's power because I'm like, how is she eating like these punches? And it's not just Moroz punching her, but it's the force of Carla going in on those shots. Oh, did I lose you?
Nope, I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like it just made me question her power. But of course I'm gonna respect it. Like those little gloves, they hurt no matter how hard the person's hitting. But that's one thing I thought was interesting. And I've always wanted to start mixing in my wrestling. Like I work it so much, like my wrestling and grappling. It would be nice to like get offensive with it at some point. So yeah, I think of anything that was kind of what I saw is like, oh, well, like if I do shoot, like, if I eat a couple, it's going to be okay. Like it won't be the end of the world. So yeah, just like, obviously I'm not going to go in like Carla does just because she's like an ace at the way she fights. Like I'm not gonna try to do it that way. I'll probably get knocked out. But just like trying to draw their punches and then go for something. I think that might show itself in the fight. But yeah, I just don't try to plan too much before I actually get in there because like she could be coming in with a totally off the wall game plan. It could like shoot right away and then I'm on my back. Like you never know what's gonna happen or what her coaches are feeding her. So yeah, but I thought that was interesting, just the fact that she could grab that leg and dump her. Like,
that's why I was questioning her powers. Like is Carla have that strong of a neck where it doesn't affect her, or is it that she just doesn't hit that hardly? Which way was it? So last question before I get out of here. What's the video game, obviously, because I know you're a gamer. What's the video game that everyone should be playing right now besides UFC Part 3?
Besides that, you know, I'm kind of a dork right now. I've been playing a lot of Skyrim.
Oh, really? Okay.
Grim.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's kind of old, but like I'll get into these immersive games, and it's the same people who made Fallout 4,
Yeah.
so it's basically like Fallout 4 with a totally different environment. So like I've been enjoying that, and I'll do like the most boring stuff. Like I'll go on a quest just so I can like loot all the dead bodies
Yeah.
and make, I don't know, like make potions and
That's
and
awesome.
yeah,
It's also
really
kind of
good.
for you. It's also kind of mindless, so you don't
Yeah,
have to think about anything, and it's not like it's not gonna take a lot of mental power to get through it. You can kind of just do it, and it's a good way to relax between practices
yeah,
and at night.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
mindless and it's addictive. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. For sure.
doing this like addictive mindless thing, and just like it saps the time away, so I'm not like freaking out in between training sessions.
Right. That makes sense. Well, Andrew, thanks so much for coming on here. I appreciate it. Good luck with the rest of your training camp, man, and have fun at that fight.
Yay, thank you. I will.